What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Aushoopers TV. This week we've got on Dusty Hannahs, Adelaide 36ers import. Spent the last couple years with the G League affiliate, the Grizzlies G League affiliate and the Warriors G League affiliate. Absolute bucket. He's been called up to the Grizzlies a couple times and he's about to come to the NBL and ball out. We're excited to have him on. Let's get straight into it. What's up, Dusty? How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, thank you. Obviously, big news recently. You signed with Adelaide, one of Adelaide 36's imports. Congrats on the signing. Huge move for Adelaide. We'll get into your full college and pro career soon. But how did this current opportunity come along? How did Adelaide approach you?
I was just back home staying ready in the off season after a weird year, and my agent called me and let me know that there was some interest there. And it took probably about a week, maybe less, after I heard that, and we were moving forward and ended up getting signed. So it was just an exciting time for me. I was very excited to play in this league.
For sure. Was going overseas to play ever an option for you? Was that something that was in the back of your mind, or?
Yeah. Just, if the NBA stuff wasn't working out, I was able to get up there for a little while and never really got a full opportunity, but was able to live that. And for it not to stick, I knew if that didn't happen at sticking, I was going to, make my way over here. And, this league was on the top of my list.
For sure. I don't know how much you've seen of Australia so far. You probably just moved straight into quarantine. But what are your thoughts on Australia so far?
I got a good view of the Sydney Harbor and the Opera House, but that's really it. So I stepped outside for like 2 seconds, and that was to go on the bus to go to quarantine, and then to walk in the hotel. So going to spend some time in Brisbane for a couple of weeks after this. So I'm excited for that. And then obviously go to Adelaide. So I'll be excited once I can kind of walk around and meet the people and kind of just enjoy it.
For sure. Obviously you just mentioned Adelaide. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Adelaide fans tuning into this episode. So what can the Adelaide 36ers expect from you this season?
Someone that's going to play really hard. I just love to win. I'm a winner. I win everywhere I go. And I don't think that's something that just happens out of chance. I think winning follows winners, and I'm gonna shoot the ball. I'm a scorer. That's what I do. I'm an elite shooter, and in my eyes, an elite scorer all around the court. I can make shots from all over. Wherever the defense gives me shots, that's where I'm going to take them and make them. So just really, really ready to get to Adelaide and, give the fans a show and, hopefully bring a championship.
Love the confidence.
For sure. You already touched on, what about, just quickly, Dusty, firstly, my name's Hesh, by the way. Reese forgot to introduce me.
What's up,
not just a random guy sitting here watching the whole interview. I just wanted to check in, and you don't have to answer this, but Connor Henry was someone that's coached in the NBL for a long time. Obviously, the situation is irrespective of you, but did you have a relationship with Connor Henry? I know he's helped a lot of players from the States get here and stuff like that. Did you have a relationship pre-existing before?
No, not pre-existing. We had talked when I got the job, and he was, seemed like a great man. So, no pre-existing relationship, but, I wish him all the best moving forward.
For sure. We'll get into your early life and junior years and college and all that other stuff. Let's take it back in time and go back to Little Rock, Arkansas. How was it like growing up there?
So I was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas now. But yeah, that was, it was a great place to grow up, a great place to raise a family, and a great basketball too, growing up in the inner city playing against, those guys that really helped mold me as a player. There's some really tough players that come out of Little Rock. So, just being able to grow up in a place with such good friends and family surrounding me was able to, catapult me into having a good college career, a good professional career.
For Sure. Where did the name Dusty come from? Because Dusty's a nickname for those who don't know.
Yeah. So my real name is Gerald. My teammates have a ball with that whenever they figure that out. They can't really give it up for a while. But my dad played professional baseball for the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Montreal Expos. He was a pitcher, and spent a little time in the MLB and became close friends with Dusty Baker, who's a skipper for for quite a few MLB teams, and he's moving up the ranks as the all-time wins on the chart. I think he might be top 5 now. But yeah, my dad, was close with him and told him, if I ever have a son, I love your name. I'm going to name him Dusty. And sure enough, I came out of there, and now here I am.
That's a dope story. Obviously, you just mentioned your dad was an MLB pitcher. How did basketball end up coming into your life? I'm sure your dad wanted to push you to play baseball.
Yeah, so I actually started playing baseball around like 4th or 5th grade. I actually went to watch Dusty play with the Cubs, or not play, coach. But Sammy Sosa hit a walk-off home run in a doubleheader game, and that was the first time that baseball looked fun to me. So like literally the day after, I was like, "Dad, I want to play baseball." But basketball is my first love. I fell in love with it at an early age. I can just remember like being young, watching Allen Iverson and Kobe, Shaq, just playing at it's called the Boys and Girls Club, where I'm from. It's where all the, you play on the low goals, and you got your team. Some teams are the Bulls, one team's the Lakers, and just even from barely being able to run and dribble, I just was obsessed with it. And that kind of took away any other sport taking up any part of my life. I just I've loved it ever since I can remember, and I still do. So that it's cool that I was able to find something I love so early in life. That it's a blessing, because some people don't find that till later. So yeah.
You ended up at, forgive me if I get the pronunciation wrong, but Pulaski Academy.
You got it.
Let's go. How was that experience? You clearly had a lot of accolades in your high school career from what we've read. So was going pro always a goal for you?
Yeah, around 9th grade, I was probably like 5'9", and going into 10th, that was when I hit my growth spurt. I was like 6'1", maybe 6'2", and that was about the time when I was starting to realize, that year, like I think I averaged like 27 points my sophomore year, and I started to realize I was getting some college offers. Like, I think I have a chance to, live my dream and be able to do this. So just not to say as a kid I didn't have confidence in myself playing professionally, but that's when I started to really realize like I had a real chance. And here I stand now, and I can't wait. I can't wait to get to playing in this league. I've heard the fans are rowdy and the crowds are really good. Had fun playing at PA, but the college and pro life has been what I've been striving for forever.
For sure.
That's cool to hear, man. It looked like you had a hell of a high school career, and obviously you chose to go to Texas Tech. Take us back to that time. How many other schools were in the hunt? You said you got a few offers, and what made you choose Texas for your freshman year?
So yeah, going back to high school, my Coach Franks was just so good to me, and he helped me play free, and just was able to dominate in high school, and only had one high major offer, and that was Texas Tech. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the college scene in America, but there's mid major and there's high major on the Division I level, and then there's low major. So I basically had all mid and low major D1s, and I was so set on playing on it at a big school that plays on ESPN, plays in front of fans. Like that was what really appealed to me, and that was my biggest offer, and they were in the Big 12. And as soon as I got the offer, I was basically committed. And I went there for 2 years. I committed to Billy Gillespie. I went there for 2 years. He got fired before I ever played a game for him. Played for 3 different coaches in 2 years, and after the second year, it wasn't working out with me and that coach and that staff. So entered entered what they call the transfer portal now. It wasn't called that, you know, when
Yeah.
I was going out. And you know, got to go back to my school right here, the Razorbacks, the Hogs, and that was one of the biggest blessings of my life. You know, I grew up a giant Hogs fan, and anyone from Arkansas does. And to be able to go back there was that was the single biggest blessing of my life so far.
For sure.
Yeah, that's cool. You just touched on transferring to Arkansas to Razorback. So you moved from the Big 12 back to the SEC back home. And it looks like you killed it in your junior year, senior year. Your last 2 years of college had really kind of broken out there. How important was that transfer for you to open up some more doors as you kind of the pro route started getting more serious?
Oh man, it was huge. You know, it just it gave me the confidence after kind of a tough 2 years at Texas Tech for me. That red shirt year really helped me. And, you know, now guys that transfer in college don't have to sit out a year, but when I transferred, unless you had a hardship granted by the NCAA, you don't lose a year, but you have to sit out in redshirt. So that sit out year, I really like got to play against, you know, a great team. Bobby Portis, Michael Qualls, Kai Madden, a lot of guys were on that team that were really good players, and just getting to, you know, play basketball the whole year against those guys, you know, helped mold me into a better player. And you know, I guess just even like the pressure of being a Razorback, knowing that all my friends and family are watching every single game, like it makes you turn it up. You know, if you're from the state, you either wither and don't perform well and have to leave Arkansas, or you know, you play well. And for me, it helped me play well because I knew in that sold out arena I'm playing in, I've got 1,000 people I know watching me, and you know, 20,000 that I know in the state that I'm going to see out, that if I play bad, he's going to tell me I'm a fucking loser, or, you know, I see my dad might even tell me I'm a loser. So just being able to play well and, you know, put the state on my back and on the front of my jersey and do that was, like I said, the biggest blessing of my life. And I ended up moving to the city I went to college in. You know, I grew up in Little Rock, but I fell in love with the area so much. That's where I'm gonna, you know, live and hopefully raise a family.
That's dope, man. Really good
Hometown
to hear.
hero.
Yeah, for sure. One of the biggest kind of trends that we've seen in Australian basketball is obviously a lot of kids grow up here and trying to get over to the States and start their college career. And it's become a little bit more frequent these days. I think it's a viable route with social media and just contacting coaches a lot more easily from overseas. What advice do you have for kids out here trying to play college route? We often talk about, do you go to a bigger school where the name's bigger? Like you said, you wanted to play in front of ESPN national coverage games, or do you prefer to go to a mid-major, low major where you might play more? What kind of advice would you have for kids that are on the cusp right now?
You know, thinking back on it, it doesn't matter after seeing the professional level and, you know, guys that ended up going making really good money overseas or get a chance in the NBA, you know, that get to a really good professional level. It doesn't really matter where you go to school. Like if I could go back, not to say I'd have changed things, but you know, some of those mid-major and low major schools that are telling you, hey, you're going to come in and we want you to be the guy, you know, that's gonna help you become a pro better than you coming off the bench and averaging 5 points at a big school and you feeling good about yourself that you're on ESPN and people patting you on the back. But you know, the best chance for you to go pro might have been playing, you know, starting at point guard at one of the mid-major schools, and that coach just letting you, you know, play freely and show your skills. So what I'd tell a guy that's wanting to go to college over there is not to be just so zoned in on going to a big school. Just go to where you feel like they love you and you feel like you can really get to show out your skills.
Sure. Times have changed, I think, for the way people head into the pros, especially these last 2 or 3 years. I think now you've got the overtime elite, you've got the NBL, you've got G League. What are your thoughts on that? If you had the choice back then, would you have gone pro for the money and the opportunity, or would you have stayed in college?
I was not you know, that glorified of a recruit. You know, I was like a 2-star with like no picture on like the scout and rivals and all that stuff. Like I was a nobody. So I would have never had that opportunity. But, you know, I guess it just depends on if you're a top 10, top 20 guy that's, you know, probably a bona fide pro. I can see that. I can see why you do it, but you know, it's just a risk. I mean, guess there's always risk, but that's really risky. I still, I guess, lean towards going to college, unless, you know, like I said, you're just top 10 and, you know, you're going to the NBA after 1 year and the quickest you can get to the draft is what you should do. Yeah, you can do that. But I would probably always lean towards the college route because I think that's an invaluable experience.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you know, but we have a young guy down here called Dyson Daniels, and he's just committed to the G League. And his options were G League or playing in the NBL. And we've just had one guy come through the NBL called Josh Giddey. He just got drafted 6th pick to the Thunder. So it's questionable. Obviously, you spent the last year at the G League. So I think the G League's a bit competitive. You know, everyone's trying to get in there, get their spotlight, and trying to get in that the NBA roster spot, obviously. So
Right.
yeah, the G League one is a bit questionable in my opinion. I think it's hard when everyone's hungry for that NBA roster spot and you're trying to make a name for yourself, trying to get into the league as a young guy. So.
For sure. I think it'll be tough for a lot of those guys. I mean, as you say, it works out with like the Kuminga and Jalen Green. Like there's going to be some of the just bona fide, really good guys that are able to figure it out and play well. But there's also going to be those ones that get exposed playing grown men that are trying to feed their family, you know, like that are very good players. So yeah, that's a risky one for sure.
For sure. We'll get into your pro career. After Arkansas, you obviously signed with Memphis Hustle, Grizzlies G League affiliate. That was from 2017 to 2019. How were your years in the G League? Take us through the experience. And do you remember your first stint, your very first game?
Yeah, so had a really good run in the G League. It was very tough at first, you know. I had to build my way up, was the end of the bench guy, you know. It was like I started all over. Because you know, when you get to the pros, that college doesn't mean anything. What you did in college, it's you got pros, veterans that, you know, have their spots earned. And, you know, so I had to wait a while to get my turn. And once I got my turn, I never looked back and really started to play some great basketball. So I had a great run with the Hustle and a good run with Santa Cruz last year. But you said my first game, I do remember that because that was about as tough a way as you could start a career. I didn't play the entire game, and we were down. It was either 2 or 3 points. I want to say it was 3 points, and I come off. He throws me into the game with like 4 seconds left to shoot the 3 per game. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, he's my guy too, Coach Sip. I love him. I mean, I can't be mad at it, but it's a tough. When I look back, that's a tough way to get thrown into your first pro game. And throws me in there. They zip it to me in the corner, get off a quick 3 right over someone's outstretched hand, and I miss it. Game over. And like, man, I was already kind of sick that I didn't get any minutes. And then bam, I go in to miss the game winner. Like this debut could not have gone like any worse. So yeah, I definitely remember my debut, my pro debut. I'll always remember it.
That's crazy. That's a crazy story.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. Like that's as crazy as it gets for a debut, honestly.
The coach is probably your mate. The coach is probably smiling after you missed it.
Yeah. Oh, so I have to bring that up to Sip. I'll have to call him and remind him that one day.
You obviously got the call up to the Grizzlies, which is huge. In March 2019. How was that feeling? Where were you when you got the call? And obviously, what was running through your head?
So we had just played a playoff game. We had just played the Stockton Kings in California. So we won that game. I think I had 25 to 30 points, something like that. And, you know, just feeling good about that, but had no thought of me getting a call up. You know, I thought that was out of the cards. I'm just hoping like get it to elite camp this summer, hopefully go to summer league, like, you know, looking forward, like hopefully this puts me in a better position for next season. And so we land and we're in Rio Grande Valley, Texas. That's the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. They're the Rockets G League team. And It was like a weird travel day. I remember we had like a super early flight, like half the team left at night, half left in the morning. And um we get to that hotel and I got like a nap. And so I woke up and we had film. So I go down to film, everyone's sitting in there, and my agent calls me like two or three times. And after like the third one, I text him like, I'm in film. Like, I'll call you after. And he said, no, Dusty, call me. He texted back like, no, I need you to call me right now. I was like, oh my God. I'm thinking bad after, how my career's gone. Sometimes I'm thinking he's about to be like, you got waived off the hustle. Like I'm thinking like it's gonna be something bad. And he answers the phone and he's like, Dusty, you just got called up. And I just went, what? And he just said it again. And then I said, what? And he said, you heard me. And I just kept saying like, what? Like I remember I was sitting next to my teammate, Kyle Casey, and he was looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Cause I was just like kind of blacking out on my phone going, what? And I just stood up. I remember going out into the hallway and Coach Brad Jones and the staff were right there. And I could tell they had just gotten the call from the general manager and they were just all cheesing. And I just ran up to Coach Jones and gave him a hug and was like, what's going on? And called FaceTime my mom. And it was emotional when I called my mom. It was that was one of the coolest moments ever, man. It's hard to put it into words. Yeah, it was a crazy time. And then the next game I had, I was playing, that was the most free I ever played in a G League game. After that, I scored like 34, 32 the next game because, it was like the monkey was off my back. It's like I can just play now,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great time, man.
That's a dope story. Great
That's
story.
cool, man. Obviously, yeah, that was a 10-day, and it seemed to be the start of a bit of a up and down, bit of a roller coaster ride for you, bouncing around J League and the NBA. So correct me if I'm wrong on any of these, but you signed a 10-day, got waived a few days later after performing reasonably well in those two games. Looked like you put up decent numbers. Then you played in the summer league for the Grizz again, signed by the Grizz in October to be waived again a day later.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to the G League, continue to kill it, and then called up for another 10-day in February, and then got waived again in that 10-day period as well. I don't want to bring up
right.
I don't want to bring up open wounds or anything like that, but
Nah, man.
I just want to know, like, it seems brutal, the business. So how does that impact a player's mentality as someone that's obviously talented enough to play at the NBA, but just not getting that kind of opportunity into a long-term deal? Like, how do you remain so persistent, and what have you learned from that?
Well, I guess so. After the first wave, it was more like that one didn't hurt. I was just still off of the high, like of getting called up, and I'd made it to the NBA. I'd scored an NBA bucket. It was like, not that I was my journey was complete and I was happy with it. I was just happy in the moment that I was able to accomplish one of my goals, and that confidence gave me the will to keep working really hard while also staying determined. Not to say I wasn't a little disappointed, like of course, but just the feeling of satisfaction that I was able to do it. Like every day I woke up, the feeling of disappointment was not as strong because I made it to the NBA. You know what I mean? And so that whole summer and that whole year, it was kind of just operation. I'm getting back there. I'd even put on Twitter, like, I'll be back. Like I quoted the Dusty got waived and I said, I'll be back. And it was, every day that was the first thing that was on my mind and the last thing before I went to bed. I was so zoned in on getting back to that moment. And, and I'd never heard anyone getting waived on a 10-day ever. Like I had never heard I didn't know it was possible until I got waived on it. And so, go to summer league, play with Tyler Harvey, who you all know, and some guys on the Grizz, and we win the championship. I had a great summer league. I think I averaged like 12 or 13 points, something like that. I may be off. In like 18 minutes, I was playing really well. Won the whole thing. So after that, I know I'm going to get a Exhibit 10 contract. I was hoping to get a two-way, and then ended up getting an Exhibit 10 with the Grizzlies. So that that other wave you're talking about was I knew that was coming. They just told me like, look, the roster's too full. We're not going to be able to have any of the guys we're signing Exhibit 10s on training camp. So I think it's four players sign Exhibit 10s.
Yeah.
And that's basically you're getting a, you know, there's the standard G League contract. The Exhibit 10 gives you a bonus to play in the G League, like substantially, you know, it's like almost triples your salary. And I knew I was going to get that, and I knew I was going to get waived. So they had like told before. So it wasn't like you know,
Sure.
I was stunned. It was like I drove from Little Rock to Memphis, which was like 2.5 hours, played against the Hornets. And then I knew I was getting waived in the morning. So that one didn't hurt at all. It kind of made it sweet. Like, dang, I only had to work one day to get this bonus, you know? But then that whole season, I mean, I was just, you know, locked in. Like that's all I wanted was to get one more real chance. And I don't know if you'd seen my third year, I had a dominant season. Was front runner for MVP probably for some time, and ended up being up there for it. But I mean, every game was putting it on people, you know. You could see in how I was playing that I was willing my way to getting another shot. And I ended up getting another shot around the same time of the next year. And the same thing happened. The same thing. Like this, I waived on a 10-day. On day 6, I was waived again. So that one hurt. Like that one, I just can't, there's no way to sugarcoat it. That one hurt because like I played good against the Clippers when I got at the end of the game. I played good at the end of the game when I got in against the Rockets. Like, you know, missed one shot, had like 8 points in like 6 minutes. So we got the Kings coming that Friday. It's a back-to-back. The Kings were coming on Friday, and LeBron and the Lakers are coming on Saturday. So I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like I'm feeling good. I finally hit a couple 3-pointers in the NBA game I hadn't in the few I had played. So I'm confident. I had the feeling of confidence when I woke up that next morning when we got back from Houston. Like, you know what? If I get in at this home gym where I've played, you know, at FedEx Forum where I've been practicing, you know, it's going to be a show. And see the GM's name pop up while I'm having my coffee, and I knew right then, like, oh my God, is this really happening again? And, you know, here I stand, you know, it's just made me stronger. Actually, the craziest part about it is, sorry to ramble, is an NBA team. I won't tell y'all which one because I don't know if that's appropriate.
Call them out, Dusty. No, I'm joking.
Actually, right after I got waived, they called me during my 10-day to say that they were going to call me up, you know, that day, but I was already on the Grizzlies. And when I got waived, they called and said, like, we still plan on calling you up once one of the, you know, blah, blah, blah's 10-day runs out, which was like 4 or 5 days away. I'd looked it up. And the next day, Rudy Gobert COVID situation, NBA suspended, and they were one of the teams not to play in the playoff race. So I just knew in my heart when I was looking at the TV, just like it's over.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's tough.
But yeah, been a journey. Been a journey,
yeah,
bro.
Sounds like it, man. And those type of stories we don't get to hear about, you know, the behind the scenes phone calls that something like that's going down for you and then obviously taken away out of your control. So next step looks like you went to Europe, didn't spend too long there, had some issues, came back to America and played, got traded, I believe. Is that right? In the G League again in this most recent season?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then now you're going to be obviously with Adelaide, as we touched on. What do you think it's going to be like? Tell me if you think there's a difference in your mentality now, knowing that you're going to be here playing for one team for an extended period from start to finish. And you're like, you know, one of the main imports coming in, and you've got a big responsibility to obviously score the ball and lead in that area. Do you think it'll be different to other situations where you've been on the map to try and get back to the league, whereas this time around it's like one season, you know that you're here for the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously good to have some, you know, something solid where I know, you know, they believe in me. I'm here for the year. You know, I don't know. Do trades happen in the NBL? Like it's not. There's no trades, right? Yeah.
No,
So
you
Right.
good.
just yeah, I was about to say like, well, I mean, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Like I get traded tomorrow, but yeah, I'm just really excited to go to a team that has history of winning here. Just the front office, the GM, everybody seems so cool in the organization. And that's a big thing for me, just the teammates as well. Just to have like the chemistry with everyone as people. We're all human, so just to have good relationships while I'm over here alone, away from everybody that I know, to have a solid base like I have at Adelaide, that's going to be huge for me. That helps keep you comfortable because like I said, we're human. You want to feel comfortable and happy where you're at. So obviously a beautiful city as well. So I'm excited just to be able to show the fans and the organization that I'm someone that you can rely on. You could ask any of my ex coaches. If you asked them, can you rely on Dusty to win you games? It'll be a resounding yes. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready to have that role again because this past year, I played a little bit of a different role for Santa Cruz. Was more of a role player, trying to show that I could be that and not be a scorer, shooter. Not that I'm still not that, but not being like one of the main guys shooting it. I was trying to show I can play off the ball and play defense. Move the ball to the other guys that are our scorers. So I'm really excited just to be a guy that my teammates can lean on to score the ball in clutch moments and throughout the game and season.
Sure. I'm excited. You sound hungry. I think you're going to fit in with 36ers. They've got an exciting young roster as well. They got Kai Soto. Not sure if you've heard of him. They got Mojave King, one of our local guys. So 36ers are looking good. What's the future
Yeah,
looking like for you, basketball wise? You aiming for the NBA back again, or?
Just my focus is obviously I would love to get back to the NBA, but I'm just so focused on the present and where my feet are, and that's what those tough times I was telling y'all about. That's what it really helped me learn is, just always being in the present, not worrying about the future, because when you start worrying about the future and things you can't control, it really will drive you crazy. And that's what I was guilty of the past few years. Like I was just worrying about getting the call up, but what is me worrying about that going to do for it? It does nothing. So just being able to come here and play basketball again after a weird year where there was just bubbles and not as many games and all of that, I'm elated and so excited just to play in front of fans again, hopefully, and just get out there and compete. I love competing, and it's like I said, it's just going to be special. I can't wait to just focus on each and every day to get better this year, each and every game, and then after the season, we'll see what happens.
For sure. I don't know if this might have impacted your decision, but there's been a couple of guys that have been recently in the NBL that have used the NBL as a launch pad to get back to the league. Jay Sean Tate, Cam Oliver. Did that impact your decision to come here, you think, the NBL's current state?
Definitely. I see this league and in Spain as the two top leagues in the world outside of the NBA. And yeah, seeing how many players like Londale and all of those people, that even some of the guys that probably haven't gotten NBA calls are probably very close to getting them, of the names that I've seen that perform well in this league. And I don't know the number, but it seems like the past 3 years, this league has just taken giant steps, from 5 years ago to now. It seems like it has just gotten so much better. And as far as people that come in and how hard the jobs are to get for these professional guys. So, for me, it was big time for me to be able to get into this league. I was, I was so excited. When I got the call, I was on the golf course and couldn't hit the ball for a couple holes because I was just so excited and I couldn't focus. But yeah, definitely was a factor in the decision, because I want to be somewhere where I'm happy, and especially helps when it's a beautiful country like this that can also help you get back to the NBA.
Yeah. One question I like to ask players that have played overseas. Obviously, you spent a season in Europe. Obviously, coming to Australia, there's no language barrier. How did you cope with the language over there in Europe?
So I've only been to, I had like a short stint in Greece, so that was like my only experience professionally playing. And yeah, that was crazy. Just like you never know what anyone's saying. Like in the training room, they're just they're just
I find
like,
it so hard.
yeah, it's crazy to think too, like how people can learn different languages. It just, that seems like outer space to me to be able to sit down and learn a language, you know. But yeah, not having the language barrier is huge. You know, I haven't gotten to roam around, but you know, just even on the phone for like talking to the Uber Eats person or talking to the lobby, it's like, you know, there's nothing different, you know.
For sure. That's a good part.
Yeah. So what about after basketball? Dusty, got any plans, coaching, or you got a plan B? You obviously spent 4 years in college, so got a degree for yourself. What do you see yourself doing long term after it's all said and done?
I really want, my dream job is to be a general manager. Being the GM in the NBA is the dream. However it takes to get there, you know, I don't know which way to start. I'll always be in, have a business background. I'm all interested in the stock market and making money. Just I've always been interested in that side of things, but I definitely want to be a general manager. Just putting teams together. Coaching is like, I would be a coach if it just fell in my lap, but I would much rather pursue being a general manager. And I don't know if I'm going to start as advanced scout or, you know, doing advanced scouting while doing commentating. You know, we'll see once it's done. Hopefully I got about 7 years to figure that out. That's the goal. I want to keep playing for as long as I can.
For sure. Be careful what you say about coaching. This guy's a coach.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Tough.
Nice. So I guess the thing in America is there's so much like moving, you know, like if you're a college coach assistant in America, like you can just be like moving. You can live in like 10 cities in 15 years, you know, like it can be a lot of movement.
I agree with you. I think a GM would be a dream job. That sounds like a dope job. We'll get into our end segment. We like to do this with all our guests. 10 quick questions. These are just rapid fire. You can use your skip button if you want.
All right.
First one is, what are you appreciative of? Could be anything.
What am I appreciative of? Just having a great family and a solid base to lean on. That's what I'm appreciative of.
Dope.
Good answer. Number 2, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
And why?
Michael Jordan. I'm a big LeBron. Love LeBron, but Michael Jordan, because you can't argue against 6-0 in the finals, and he sat out 2 of the, really 3 of the years, I believe, because he came back that 3rd year, but it was like right before the playoffs, you know. You got to go Michael. I mean, just dominant, and I think he's not only the best NBA player, I think he's just like the best team sport athlete in world history.
For sure. Starting a franchise today, obviously you talked about your GM aspirations. Who are you taking, Zion or Ja Morant?
Wow. Ja's my boy too.
Yeah,
so
I was
like,
going to say in Memphis.
yeah. Yikes. See, that's just tough to say. That's tough. Because I would want to know what I'm going to have around each guy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to give that one a draw.
Okay.
That's fair. Who wins the NBA next season?
Say that again?
Who wins the NBA season next season?
Oh. one of my close friends is Bobby Portis. So I mean, healthy Nets is going to be tough to beat, but I'm gonna go with my boy Bobby and the Bucks.
That's
Interesting.
I like it.
Most of the answers we've had are Nets. We had a Nuggets, and now Bucks.
Yeah, that'd be shocking.
Yeah. We might have to come back on that if they win.
yeah, right.
Have you ever been to Australia? What were your expectations before coming, and any stereotypes?
No, I'd never been, and I'd always seen it was beautiful, and when I like signed, I felt the same way, but so many people back home are like, that's on their bucket list. They want to come see it here really bad. But my stereotype is just like that there's just crazy animals everywhere. Like I was just like worried that there's going to be spiders and snakes like everywhere. Is it like that?
Yeah. Be careful when you step
It
out
is?
the hotel room.
Literally?
No, we're kidding.
He's playing. I think if you go to the bush, like if you go to the outback, it can be like, there's wild animals and there's things, but in the city, like it's pretty chill. Like
there's no animals. It's more
and
than
then
chill.
sharks too. I don't mess with that kind of shit, man. Like the big sharks, y'all are getting in the ocean, swimming out there kind of deep, or is it knee deep and you're done?
Oh
I'm
no.
a knee deep guy, so you don't ask me. So
No, it ain't like that. When I went to America, one of the waiters asked me, she's like, "Oh, you're Australian?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You guys have crocodiles running on the street." I was like, "Bro,
like,
what?"
no. That's hilarious.
Crazy.
All right, I'm going to change this question up. We had one written down, but I got another one that just came to me. Down 2 in a game, the play's drawn up. You prefer middle ball screen, like flat action, you going 1-on-1, or Dusty Hannah's coming off a pin down 3 for the game?
Probably would be one you didn't list. It would be a dribble handoff, like maybe like a pitch to the big, and I'm getting like downhill, like get to use my body because you don't have the ball, so you're able to get more physical and get more of a push off and get out of there. Not to say I'm not comfortable at the pick and roll, and both of those I love because you can curl or fade or hit the 3 off the pin down. But if it was one bucket, it can be a 2-pointer.
Yeah, it can be 2. You can tie it up.
Oh, you said down 2. Yeah, I would go dribble handoff as close to half court as I could get it.
Nice.
Who's the hardest player you've ever had to guard?
Ooh,
You don't have to give anyone credit if you don't want.
Yeah, I would have to say I had to guard Damian Lillard for a couple possessions when I was called up with the Trailblazers, and he got me on the corner one time with a between the legs cross.
That's probably
got me pretty good.
One of the best answers you can get, Damian Lillard.
Yeah, Lou Williams too. Lou Williams was my like welcome to the NBA moment. He gave me like a few buckets straight while I was still kind of in shock that I was at Staples Center playing. He wasn't, and he gave me a couple.
For sure.
Did he say anything?
No, he didn't say nothing. I actually saw him too in LA. I would go with Bobby Portis to LA to train and play in those Rico Hines pickup games that they have at the UCLA, and I saw him there and actually like told him like, "Hey, you're kind of my welcome to NBA moment. You kind of cooked me a couple plays," and he was like, said something like, "I'm just glad you made it there, man." I was like, "Okay, thanks."
Yeah. He seems super chill, even in all his interviews and stuff.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
All right, celebrity crush.
I guess lifelong was like Jennifer Aniston.
Ooh, I like that. Retro. I like that.
Yeah. Me and my mom grew up watching Friends together, like before school and stuff. That was like my first like kid crush.
Yeah.
There's a big debate going on right now. Let's hear what you have to say. Certified lover boy or Donda?
Jeez, it's everywhere. I honestly haven't. I know I'm in quarantine. I haven't really like sat down and listened to everything, but off of the couple I've heard off each one, I'd have to go Certified Lover Boy.
For sure.
Nice. And this one is I'm hoping I get the answer that I want with this, but let's see. Who's winning the NBL MVP next season?
Hopefully me.
Yeah, let's go. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That's the goal. That's the goal. First goal is the championship. Second is probably grand finals MVP, and then third would be NBL MVP.
Tough.
Like it.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining us, Dusty. We appreciate it so much. We're so glad you're in Australia. We're wishing you good luck next season. We'll be cheering you on.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Have a good one. Thank you guys for joining us. We really enjoyed that episode. Dusty seems like a cool guy. We're excited to see how he goes next year. What do we reckon, MVP mode?
Yeah, I get the vibe that he's locked in, coming off getting caught up to the NBA a couple of times. I think he's gonna have his confident hat on, and he's gonna come out here just blazing. And I seen some footage. We just spoke about it. Him just not even hitting the ring on some of these shots that he's taking in workouts. I think he's gonna be a bit of a low key underdog for MVP for sure.
For sure. We forgot to mention to him, but as soon as he left, I was like, damn. But there was a video that came out, and for those who don't know, there was like 90 plus threes in a row, which is Steph Curry numbers. Not many people can do that in the world, so we'll see. We're excited. Appreciate you guys joining us. Remember to subscribe on whatever listening platform you guys are listening on, and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next episode.